Then you have Nancy roll up with these guns and she's like, I'm going to take it, guys. And everyone's like, okay, Nancy. And somehow they get from point A to point B on top of a cliff in like 2 seconds.
Oh, so you're all right. You're getting very like plot nitpicky though.
I'm getting plot/overall character arc nitpicky. This show made no sense. There were so many plot holes. There were so many questions. Why did you show me this? Why did we do this? Why? What happened here? What was the point of Holly Wheeler at all? What was the point of the kids? Why were there 12 kids? Like, what was with the whole clock thing? Like, none of it was answered.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Nerdy and Nice, your favorite podcast that brings the nice and the spice in a very nerdy fashion about all things we love in movies, TV, and pop culture.
Did you just come up with that? Well done.
I think we've used something like that before.
I think you have.
Maybe.
I don't want to take credit for something that you did.
No, that's never happened.
It hasn't.
No.
I would never take credit for someone else's work.
And neither would I. But I'm John. That's Lacey. And
Hi.
Yeah, we're here to talk about stuff. We are finally getting around to discussing the Stranger Things finale and the documentary that came out thereafter. We are going to get into what we're watching later. I'm going to review the first 2 episodes of the new Game of Thrones series, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which... good. I'm thumbsing up the camera.
Nice.
We'll get into the details on that later. But before that, since no big trailers, it's sort of like the weird calm before the Super Bowl, I feel like, Lacey, where we're going to get a bunch of stuff in 10 days or in a week from now, I should say, where the Patriots are going to face off against the Seahawks. So not a lot of trailers, not a ton of news. So we have a few stories here to get into. But first, let our audience know what's going on. How you doing? How you feeling? You're on the mend still. What else is going on in your world?
I'm okay. I thank you for everybody for your kind words and reaching out and messages and stuff, hoping I feel better. This one, I don't know what it was, cold, flu, whatever, it has had a hold on me and it will not let go. So I would love for it to end already. I'm about 75%, 80% there. So
good.
Anyway, I would also want to know what your thoughts are on so far the Wuthering Heights press that has been going on with Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi from Frankenstein.
I don't know anything about it, so tell me. I know we talked about the trailer and we were like, this looks too
50
abstract
Shades
or whatever.
They went 50 Shades with it. So Wuthering Heights is definitely a book that's a lot of people's favorite book of all time. Like, it's a very popular classical Gothic romance novel. And one of the big pieces of it was that the main kind of character, Heathcliff, is a person of color. And that's like a discussion on romance versus class versus all these different things, like a rich person versus a poor person, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of important that he comes from that background. And the person that is the writer-director, I don't know if she's the writer too, but she's definitely the director, Emerald Fennell, who did Saltburn with the whole bathtub thing with also Jacob Elordi. I don't know what that's about. He's in this. And she was asked on the press tour, like, hey, why did you make this choice? And her response was, well, when I read the book, I fantasized this type of person, so that's who I put in the movie.
Oh, so it's a personal sexual preference.
Yes. And then Margot Robbie, she's giving interviews about how her and her girlfriends had like a ladies only screening. They're really pushing this to be like the lady movie for Valentine's Day. Like,
grab your friends, grab your florals.
Yes. And
yikes.
She basically was like, oh, it was so hot and heavy and sexy that like all my friends were foaming at the mouth. And like if Jacob Elordi walked in, they would have like eaten him because they were so like turned on. And I was like, I don't know if I would like, that's how I would present my movie, but we'll see how it does. I'm interested to see how it does in the box office. It also has a soundtrack by Charlie XCX, so I don't really know what to think.
So what they're trying to do is get all the lonely, horny people to come see the movie.
I think so,
yeah.
but I'm not to say that I don't like that. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm against that, because that's not true. However, I think there's ways to go about classical romance, gothic romance in a way that can be sexy without being over the top, like Margot Robbie licking a wall. And I think like they've gone too far into like, I don't know, is scandalous the word? It makes me feel old saying that. I think they've gone too far into like the over the top ridiculousness that it's going to take away from what like the source material is. But people are also hypothesizing that it could be a dream type thing. Like, oh, Margot Robbie's character is not really the character. And at the end, it's going to be revealed that she's reading the book.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we'll see. But I was wondering if you saw anything. But now I'm just talking to myself because I'm the only one that's been seeing any of this.
I have not. No. Yeah. I have not. Is there more to that? Or is it just essentially them?
There's nothing more to it. But I think the reason it's caught my eye so much is because Margot Robbie had such success with the press with Barbie, with her outfits and just the overall kind of aesthetic she was going for with all the pinks and everything, that now she's gone in a different direction with her stylist and she's doing a lot of like reds, lace, leather. Like she's going full into this. And I think that's her thing now, which I appreciate as a marketing person. But I'm interested to see what else is done. I guess we'll talk about this more after it comes out. Because Valentine's Day is only a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
So
true.
Gentlemen, ladies, get your gifts now before you forget.
Yeah, you got the new Sydney Sweeney lingerie line, which is out. So that's available, apparently.
Which everybody's calling it CERN, but I heard it's supposed to be Siren. SYRN is supposed to be Siren. But everybody's like, oh, her new thing's CERN.
CERN.
And I'm like, wow, that didn't work. That
Yikes.
did not go well.
Well, let's see if this will work.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
So we have a couple stories before we get into all Stranger Things thoughts. Kicking it off with Ted Lasso season 4, which we've gone back and forth with a couple times with updates of, is the cast going to come back? Who's coming back? Are they all signed on? What does it mean? Are they going to keep doing it? And the answer is yes. So they released a first look of images for Ted Lasso season 4, which, quote, is the new season following Ted's returning to Richmond for his biggest challenge yet, coaching a women's football team, which is releasing this summer on Apple TV. Now, I'm going to be honest, I have to catch up. I have not watched the latest season. I think I made it through season 2. I need to make it through the rest. I'm not there yet. I think I lost attention a little bit. It dips a little bit when he starts getting like really depressed and stuff. I was like, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah, it gets a little dark.
But the women's team aspect is really exciting. That is a cool turn that they took, and brings a whole different side of issues, emotions, just different industries that I'm sure it'll be interesting to have him take on. So what are your thoughts, John?
I'm a little nervous about it. Because I feel like when they made that third season, it seemed pretty definitive that that's how they were ending the show. And anytime I feel like that happens, it's sort of like, I like to make sports analogies, you know that, but it's like when a pro athlete retires and then they're out for a little while and then they come back. Like sometimes there's something that they can't turn back on. And I feel like that might be the case here. I honestly think, I don't know if it was Apple saying like, we'll pay you whatever. You got to give us more Ted Lasso. I don't know, because we know Apple had been losing money in streaming, not Apple, obviously. But I can't help but think this is sort of one more season or something so that they can get Rebecca and Ted together. And I think that's like what their goal is from a narrative standpoint. I don't know.
I could see that.
Because every other character sort of had a nice tight tied bow on top of their story for the most part, as with season 3, without giving spoilers to you. But we'll see. I'm going to watch it because, I do feel like Ted Lasso will always come with this inherent positivity, and it makes you feel good, even though they do explore some mental health stuff and other issues.
Yeah.
So I'll watch it, but I'm going in with low expectations just so that I'm not expecting peak Ted Lasso and getting like completely disappointed. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch it, but I'm going in like a little nervous that it's not going to have the same charm. But hopefully the cast of characters they have for this women's football team are just as compelling, charming, and likable as the men Richmond team that he coached. So we'll see.
I have to say, in the photo that they first show is Ted with, I'm assuming, a woman's assistant coach. And she looks just like his assistant coach, just the woman version. And I'm sure they did that on purpose, because that's what I thought the first time I saw her. I was like, this looks like, what's his name? Jeremy, right?
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Isn't that his like assistant coach guy?
Well, Coach Beard.
Beard, that guy. What's his actual name?
Oh, I don't know his actual name. He's there next to him on his left, though, I think.
I know, but she looks like him.
Oh, yeah.
They have like this kind of, she has this like mean face on that I'm like, she looks like the guy that he was coaching with originally.
Yeah, Brendan Hunt plays Coach Willis Beard.
Right. Anyway, so because speaking of going back to the well, going back to what people know, we know if there's one thing Hollywood and movies and film, etc., television love, especially in the past, I would say 10, 15 years, is nostalgia. So, to no one's surprise, they are now making a Dirty Dancing sequel with Jennifer Grey, and it's moving forward after nearly 40 years after released. Now, unfortunately, Patrick Swayze will not be reprising his role because he passed away in 2009.
Yep.
Sadly from cancer, but she says that she's excited to see the role move forward and that the role of Baby has meant a lot to her over the years. And she's looking forward to seeing where the character goes next. And she hasn't really said more than that, but that she looks forward to reprising her role. And I'm sure a paycheck doesn't hurt either, if we're being honest with ourselves.
Plot points or anything that they give us about this?
They do not. It's just, hey, it's happening.
Who's making it? Do they say who's making it?
Lionsgate.
Any director or writers?
Writer is the writer of Dirty Sex, I think is the name of the show.
They just look up another Dirty and they're like, let's get that person.
Where was it? Dying for Sex. I'm sorry. Dying for Sex showrunner. Kim Rosenstock will write the script, while Hunger Games and Crazy Rich Asians producers Nina Jacobson and Brad Simpson will lead the project. I know a lot about Nina Jacobson because she did Hunger Games and Crazy Rich Asians, and those are some of my top 10 movies of all time. So I have some trust that if Nina Jacobson is signed on, then it's obviously not something that's not going to make her money. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to have a good reaction. But we'll see, I guess. My whole thing is, isn't it like pretty scandalous that she got a nose job? Isn't it like a pretty well-known thing that people were like, you've changed your look enough that like you don't look like the same person?
So I remember this. I remember in the 90s when she did get the nose job, like it almost killed her career because it changed her face so much because she had a very distinct nose. And
yes.
She had this sort of regular girl next door charm to her in the original Dirty Dancing, other movies she did. She played kind of a bitch in Ferris Bueller, but there was this sort of normal, regular looking girl charm about her. So then she gets the nose job. She like does an episode of Friends where she played like Rachel's friend that her husband left her for, or her fiance left her for, to kick off the whole series of Friends. And I think she stopped getting roles because of it. And then she like had a resurgence recently because she did Dancing with the Stars, and people were like, oh, the girl from Dirty Dancing is doing Dancing with the Stars, and that made sense. So it looks like because of that popularity, they're hoping to spin this into a sequel for Dirty Dancing. But that's kind of wild. Like, Patrick Swayze's gone. Jerry Orbach's obviously gone, who played her dad.
Yeah. I know she mentioned, like, we can't replace people that have passed. And I remember being like, who else? And I'm like, oh, a couple people have passed on, unfortunately.
But what? So this is what they're going to do. This is like, because these types of movies, there's only a few things that they usually do, and it's low-hanging fruit. One, she became a dance instructor and has a dance studio and has, like, a young girl show up, and she's just, like, coming of age, doesn't know her way, and she teaches her based on how she went through her experience.
I mean, that's basically what Step Up is. The whole Step Up franchise is like rich kids at dance school.
Or two, it's about, like, her kids, and her kid, like, her daughter goes off to a summer camp now, where they go to the same frickin' place, and now she's the overprotective parent, and her daughter gets mixed up with the bad kids, and they try to cast very popular 20-something teens of this era to be in it. Like, just
I hope they get a dancer.
Grab your kids from Euphoria, or whatever the hell they end up doing. So,
yeah,
I don't know. This seems like not a good idea. I don't know. Like,
my hope would be that, just like they did with Patrick Swayze, they would find someone that has a dancing ballet background, not someone like an Abigail Breslin, which they did for the TV movie version, which nobody liked, who does not have any dancing. Yeah, because I think in the article they said a couple different people had auditioned for it, and he ended up getting it. But that's part of the charm of it, is that he's an actual dancer. Like, he lifted her above his head, no problem, because he was classically trained. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. But again, like, she doesn't look like herself. And I don't mean that to be mean. I just mean it, like, realistically. When I see her, I'm like, it's not the same person from this movie. And I'm sure if you were to ask her, do you regret doing that? I'm sure she said she would say yes.
And she's also, like, about to be 66 years old.
Yeah, she's 65 right now. She's married to Agent Coulson, which I found funny.
Who's that?
The guy from Marvel? Agent Coulson?
Why do I not know that?
He's the one that collects all the little cards, and he, like, loves Captain America.
Uh-huh.
He was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for, like, a while.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah. That the dude, he was in a sitcom with, like, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Yeah, I know who I know exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Look, the movie could be very cute if they do it the right way. I actually liked Havana Nights, which was the other Dirty Dancing that they did with Patrick Swayze, who was in it. It had Diego Luna, who is amazing in that film. He's so good. He's good in everything, let's be honest, but he's very good in that. Yeah, anyway. Let's move on to something you actually care about, which is Supergirl.
Yeah.
So they released a new teaser for Supergirl, which features Jason Momoa as Lobo.
Yep.
Which I have no idea who Lobo is. I'm not even going to pretend I know. But I find it interesting that they're going, hey, he's not Aquaman anymore. He's going to play this guy.
Yes.
And what do you think, John?
So Lobo is sort of like Boba Fett. He's a bounty hunter. So my guess is he's being hired by somebody to capture Supergirl, is my guess.
Interesting. Okay.
Now this clip, it was very short. It almost felt like more TV spotty, and it had some shots from the original trailer that came out. But I do love the debut of Jason Momoa as Lobo. He had been talking about playing this character for a long time, I think. So I like that he's getting another crack at being a part of DC because of everything that happened. Like, the first Aquaman made like $1 billion. It was very successful.
So much money, yeah.
He had that success. The second one fell off after everything that happened with the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp stuff. And I think people just, like I was saying last week about when The Flash came out, and people were feeling like the DCU was dying as it was. So why am I going to go see Aquaman 2 if there's nothing after that?
I think it also came out at a time where people were coming off the superhero trend.
Yeah. And they knew DCU was sort of expiring, so it's like, I'm not going to waste my money to go see this movie if there's nothing coming after it, essentially. Yeah. So that hurt that. But so I do like the fact that James Gunn has that relationship with him where he brings him right back in to play a different character, and he looks awesome. And he looks like he's having a blast doing it, and I'm sure he's going to appear in a lot of other stuff, maybe even Man of Tomorrow, which starts filming in 2 months. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I'm all in. I'm on the ride for DC. I finished Peacemaker Season 2, Superman. Now we're on to Supergirl in late June.
Did you like it, Peacemaker? I heard it kind of gets a little crazy.
It gets crazy, but I did enjoy it. I'm not like the biggest fan of John Cena as an actor or anything, but the show is very it has that James Gunn feel to it. Because he has his pet eagle who is way smarter than the average eagle, and you know how James Gunn is good at making animals feel intelligent and real in his movies, like Rocket the Raccoon and stuff like that.
He loves a good sidekick.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that, but I'm very excited. Millie Alcock looks like she's great in this role. We talked about her cameo at the end of Superman, and that sold me already. So I'm all in on this, and the clip just adds more fun because you got this now bounty hunter rolling in. And it's going to add another variable to this story.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. I got to watch Superman.
Yeah. You do have to watch Superman every week. We're talking about this.
All right. Let's get into something we did watch a little bit ago, which is kind of a big deal, but we'll talk about it.
Fight for a world beyond Hawkins.
All right. Stranger Things is over. The finale has arrived. The documentary has arrived, which gives us a look exclusively at the making of just season 5, specifically the finale. And we're here to review it. We talked about the first batch of episodes. We didn't get an opportunity to talk about the middle batch of episodes, but even I didn't love the middle batch. But here's where it gets interesting, folks. We've both watched the Stranger Things finale. I liked the Stranger Things finale, and
I knew
Lacey
you would.
did not like the Stranger Things finale. So how do we want to start this thing?
Why don't you start with why you liked it?
Okay. All right. So here's the thing about finales. We know that it is almost impossible for a very popular, audience-transcendent, game-changing TV show to have a good finale as far as the masses go. Everyone has their idea of how it should go. Then there's people who I think are looking for, like, by the time it ends, they're always sort of like deflated, like, oh, that was it. And then there's people who like it, and there's people who love it, and there's people who are like, oh, that was just garbage. I liked it. I thought it was good. And why I liked it is because they didn't kill any of the main characters besides who they thought they would, which would be 11. I knew that 11 was going to have to go. We had talked about that for a long time on the podcast. Like, we thought 11's not going to make it through this series. So I wasn't surprised about that. Where I like it is when I look at the ambiguous ending about 11, my mind is that she died. And I like the finale with that mindset. If there was this sort of illusion and trick and Mike's story that he tells is actually true and she lived, then I don't like the finale. So it's not necessarily choose your own adventure, but the Duffer Brothers did give us an opportunity as the audience to decide what we think happened, which reminded me a lot of The Sopranos. And The Sopranos was a very divisive finale, and I absolutely loved it. Because there are a lot of people like, well, what happened? We don't know what happened. And
I just want to state that you loved The Sopranos, you loved Game of Thrones, and you loved this finale.
Yeah.
All the ones that people did not like, you loved.
I didn't like the Seinfeld finale, so I'm with everyone on that one. But the Sopranos finale, if you follow the breadcrumbs throughout that season, you understand that Tony did in fact get killed, and that's what went black. A great finale, one of the greatest finales ever. Even Lost, I liked a little bit, the finale. But for me, like, here's why I like things. You know me, Lacey. I'm character first. If I feel that connection with my characters and the closure with the characters, then I'm fine with it. Like, plot is always secondary to me. And I think what most people had issues with was the plot. I'm not speaking for you. I'm just going by what people I've talked to about it. I really found myself getting emotional at the end, especially as Mike was telling his story. And Mike being the storyteller, as they call him, from the very beginning of Stranger Things, he's the one running the campaign, and he's developing that story. And then at the end, he's telling his story about 11. And to me, he's making it up. to tell a happy ending to a story that may not have one. And the reason why I need to believe that 11 is dead is not because I'm a sadist or I don't like the character. It's mainly because of the town bench meeting between Hopper and Mike and that conversation, which I thought was one of the best conversations in the whole series. And I liked that Hopper had to get Mike where he needed to be, which was saying, like, you have two paths you can take here. And he's using the experience he had with his daughter, Sarah. He's like, you can stay in that past and destroy yourself and not have a life, or you can go down this path and find a future. And if 11 was alive and he's telling that story, then it really doesn't carry the emotional weight and importance that it needs to. And also the fact that Hopper and Joyce get engaged and they're going to move to New York out of Montauk. So he has his closure and he's moving on. If 11's still alive, there's that weird thing of, well, he was supposed to be her dad and now she's just out there alone. So to me, everything points to that in order for this to be a good finale, 11 has to be gone, period. And with that said, I thought the finale was better than most of the episodes of this season. And I like I said earlier, I like the fact that all the other main characters did survive, because I think, and you and I have talked about this, we've gotten very kill hungry with our movies and TV these days, with Star Wars as a prime example, that always feeling the need to
But
kill
they
your
killed her.
villains off or kill your heroes off. I know. And her dying had to happen. But I'm talking about the core four boys, Max, Steve, Jonathan, Nancy, all of them making it out is very 1980s, and we should have all expected that. I think we all got a little trigger happy with modern day storytelling, and these guys were telling us a 1980s coming of age story. So I like that element of it, and I thought the music choices were great. The Purple Rain, excellent, because I love Prince. So they checked a lot of the boxes for me. I felt like it was satisfying enough. I'm not saying it's the best episode of the series, but it doesn't need to be. And that's why I like the Stranger Things finale.
All right. Well, where to begin? First of all, you can't have a story where the main character is someone that was basically stolen very early in their life and abused their entire life, and then the theme at the end be, well, they have to die. To end the abuse, they have to die.
Yeah, but
like, that's such a not hopeful, horrific story to people that live with abuse, characters that have lived with abuse, to be like, oh yeah, she's like, even Hopper says to her, like, you've been abused your whole life. Like, it's time for you to, be the hero. And then they're like, psych, you're dead. And it just, the last episode, because I'm just talking the finale now. I don't want to get into like the whole final season, because there are many issues that I have with this season that I don't even want to drill down into. I'm just going to talk finale. The finale was insanely rushed. I think that the plot moving from point to point to point was rushed. The highlight for me was the part where the army guys show up and 11 kills them all. Like, that was the highlight to me. Like, that was the best part of the episode, that I was like, oh, sick. This is like the stuff that I love about Stranger Things, is like how powerful she is. The Mind Flayer was such a letdown. That monster was so lame. And it went from this like ominous like shadow monster to this typical I don't want to use this term because I know a lot of people are using it now, but I'm going to use it anyway. Marvelized monster, where they have the one shot, which I feel like I just mentioned this. The shot where the person's jumping into the air into the monster is like so lame.
Oh,
I hate it so much.
Wow.
They use it in everything now. They just use it in He-Man. It's like the shot now that everybody uses.
Mandalorian did it too.
Yes, and I hate it. I hate
loved it.
that shot. It's cool when one person does it. It's not cool when every single franchise does it. I feel like the Duffer Brothers were in over their heads. I think they took a blank paycheck and just wanted it, and they had no plan for this series. And that is blatantly obvious in the documentary, where they're sitting in the writer's room and the writers are going like, you can't go to this place and have no monsters. You've shown these monsters to be other places, including in the Abyss. And they're like, yeah, we should think about that. And then they didn't put any in there. You're telling me these people go to this random world where everything births off this mind flare and there's not one monster there? That makes no sense.
I didn't think about it, honestly.
They show it in another point of the series when Henry's there. They show the Demogorgons.
He sees like one demo dog like walking or something like that.
The Demogorgon, which shows you it comes from this place. So you're telling me not one is ready to go with these kids? Then you have Nancy roll up with these guns and she's like, I'm going to take it, guys. And everyone's like, okay, Nancy. And somehow they get from point A to point B on top of a cliff in like 2 seconds.
Oh, so you're all right. You're getting very like plot nitpicky though.
I'm getting plot/overall character arc nitpicky. This show made no sense. There were so many plot holes. There were so many questions. Why did you show me this? Why did we do this? Why? What happened here? What was the point of Holly Wheeler at all? What was the point of the kids? Why were there 12 kids? Like, what was with the whole clock thing? Like, none of it was answered. And then the Duffer Brothers turn around and they're like, well, that rock that you see is going to be very important later. Where have I heard this before? Every other series, like Lost, etc., where they're like, remember this, it's gonna be important later. And it's not. And it just like the documentary series like made me want to scream, where they're showing their screen and it has ChatGPT on it and Reddit is pulled up. You should not be referencing those things. You should be doing your own thing.
We don't know what they were using them for, though, to be fair.
They said research in an interview. But they shouldn't be doing research on Reddit and ChatGPT for their own story.
But what if it's not? I'm devil's advocate, okay?
Sure, go ahead. Play devil's advocate with ChatGPT and Reddit on doing research for your own series. Go ahead.
We don't know what they were researching. It didn't mean it was story-based research. Like, maybe they were researching, how to make this type of terrain work here, or like what is, it could be a physical thing they were trying to look up. Like, we don't know what they were looking up. So that is all just speculation.
In the interview they did, they said they used it specifically for story research.
They did an interview where they said they used ChatGPT for story research.
Yes.
No way.
Yes. They did an interview after that came out where they were basically covering their bases with an interviewer. And the interviewer's like, well, I use it all the time for research. And they're like, exactly. Research. It's just lazy. I don't want to get into ChatGPT, but it's just like the whole 11 thing like really annoys me to an extent that like I cannot properly express it because I'm just so enraged about them killing 11. I thought it was a cheap cop-out. I thought it was lame. I thought not one kid died. I'm sorry, not one? Not one person died?
You said from very early on, you're like, 11's 100% dying.
I said she was going to die, but that doesn't mean I think she should die. And not to mention, she didn't die in a heroic way. She died by taking herself out. That's not heroic.
No. You know what that is, though?
A sacrifice.
Terminator 2.
Really original.
No, Terminator 2 breaking the chain. If she stays alive, there's still this telekinesis connection to other dimensions.
You don't have to explain it. I know why they killed her because they even say it 15 times throughout the episode being like, we have to break the cycle.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. They do the Netflix explain the theory / plot
wow, you just
like
really
16 times.
Hated.
I did. I'm not kidding. The worst series finale / episode I've ever watched.
Worst?
There was nothing good about it. I didn't like anything about it.
You didn't like the ending where Mike was telling the story to them and they were all sobbing and they're like, I believe. You didn't see like the final scene where the kids run down. Like that didn't do anything for you emotionally or anything?
Nope.
Wow. Okay.
I did not like it. I don't think the Duffers did it justice. I think they should have handed it off to another team of writers. They're not writers.
What?
And I think that the original seasons that did so well were because of the Duffer's wife, who then left the project.
I'm sorry. You're
back.
doing a lot of speculation right now.
I'm allowed to do that.
I know, but you're just saying you're just saying because like I saw that floating around online too, that now we're saying that his ex-wife is the one who actually wrote it. Like, what are we doing?
I'm not saying she's the one that wrote it. but you could have a really good voice, including the guy Patrick, who's one of the writers in the writing room that says, hey, we should have monsters here. He's responsible for some of the best episodes of Stranger Things, and they didn't listen to him. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's ultimately their story to tell.
Well, sometimes they don't have good ideas.
Oh, man. I think you're being a little too harsh on these guys.
You have Finn Wolfhard literally going on national television on late night TV shows saying, oh yeah, I said to them, years later we'll be around a table telling the story, and they pulled me aside and said, who told you that's the ending of the series? And he said, no one, I said that. And they were like, well, don't tell anybody that's the ending of the series.
Well, what's wrong with that?
That I'm saying it's not that original if your own actors are going, oh yeah, what if they did this?
Yeah, but does it have to be like does it have to be like an ending no one's ever seen before though?
No, but I think that there could have been ways that they could have solved the story and tied up loose ends without it being just like, she's dead now. Everybody move on. It's all good. Who cares? Also, that scene of Nancy, Jonathan, Steve, and Robin was so cringe.
What scene?
The scene of them on the roof being like, yeah, man, let's get together a month from now, every month. I was like, oh, God, why do they look like they're 50?
Yeah, that I didn't love that scene. I agree with that one.
The only one I did like, honestly, was the scene where 11 kills everybody, and then Dustin's graduation speech, which was a callback to his buddy, Eddie.
Yeah.
And Dustin was, I think, the best, if not, him and Steve were the best characters of this whole series. They had the best character arcs, they had the best moments, they had the best acting. They were the best.
Yeah, I don't know.
Finn Wolfhard can't act, and it was obvious from his awkward hand holding of Millie Bobby Brown in their moment. It was so awkward.
He can't act now?
He can't.
Is happening? Holy, you're being harsh. You're being really harsh.
People want the honesty. That's how I honestly feel. Sorry.
I mean, here's the thing. So you think 11's the main character. I do not. I don't think she's the main character at all.
I think her and Mike are, but if we're talking about who's outacting one another in the scene, she's outacting him.
Well, what did you like from the finale?
I told you. I just said 2 things I liked.
That was it? Those 2 things?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
I just felt like it was the same things over and over and over again. And the whole episode, I was like, oh, is someone dying here? Nope. Is someone dying here? No.
I thought that you would like it more because they didn't kill everybody. Because you have such a problem with that.
I have a problem with them killing the main character because they can't come up with any idea how to end the story. And they did exactly that here.
They didn't kill the main character, though.
They killed 11.
Supporting character.
You can't say she's a supporting character, John, when she's the main person in every single poster and she's the main character in every big moment of the show. You can't say she's a supporting character. You don't see Lando on the front of every Star Wars poster. You don't see Lando fighting up against Darth Vader. No,
you see Luke Skywalker. For the movies he's in, though.
Not in the main center of the poster.
We're going to disagree. I do not think she's the main character. You do. That's okay. But I see. I don't know. Like, I knew she wasn't going to make it out of the series. There's also the possibility, Lacey, that she's alive, and all of your worries and concerns.
She's not alive. They've already said that she's not.
Where did they say that? Where are you getting this? I didn't see them definitively say that.
Excuse me. The Duffers said it in an interview. They were like, "Well, it's pretty obvious that scene's not real between her and Mike."
I didn't see that. I saw them say like, "Well, it's up to you to decide."
See, this is the problem, John, is that there was so much mess in the press with the Duffers and this documentary, which Netflix, I felt like, if I'm reading between the lines of a marketing person, you put this out to cover your butts that the Duffers did such a terrible job that you're like, see how big of a mess this season was? That Netflix put that out there, because that Netflix documentary where there's scenes where you have Robin being like, well, why would we admit our love to each other in front of them when they don't even know we're dating? Like, why are they telling Sean Levy that? Like, Sean Levy, what are you doing, bro?
Well, in his defense, he's like, in the pages, it says they hold each other's hand or something like that. You know? So he's
Yes.
trying to direct them based on what's in the pages, not necessarily they need to reveal this here or reveal that there.
Which falls back on the Duffers, I'm saying.
Yes. I don't disagree with you necessarily. It was obviously rushed because they were shooting it before it was finished. And I mean,
they didn't finish writing it. The first thing they say is like, we didn't finish writing it.
I agree that they had 3 years. They should have had everything written. I agree with that. I'm just saying, based on the end result, I'm not as upset about it as a lot of other people. And I thought a lot of it was satisfactory to me. I got emotionally moved. I liked how the end was for the main core characters. And that's usually enough for me. I do understand your criticisms. They should have had this written, no doubt about it.
My whole thing is,
I also
if you're
think
going to have
the
something,
documentary shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have put that out.
If you're going to have something that is a staple of your franchises, like Netflix has, which, by the way, they flopped with Squid Game. Now they flopped with Stranger Things. Stranger Things is not liked, if we're being honest with ourselves. You might liked it, John. Overall, most people did not like where it ended up. I'm not saying that there weren't highlights. Like, people loved Will's moment. People talked about that a lot. People said it was one of the best episodes ever created. Love that moment. But overall,
which moment? Which moment?
Where Will gets powers and starts killing all the Demogorgons.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 4. People talk about how that's the best episode ever.
Yeah.
Which I hear you. I'm saying that when you're going into the series finale of this big tentpole staple franchise for Netflix, they changed their own intro to something for it. They've put out countless products. They've been pushing this for 10 years. Huge thing. You don't have the Duffers go out 2 days before it comes out and tell everybody, hey, by the way, the version that you're seeing, we had to give them today. We weren't done. We're not done with it. We weren't happy with it, but Netflix forced us to give it to you. You don't start there. That's setting up an expectation of whatever's coming out, you're not going to like it, and it's not what we wanted to do, and Netflix rushed us. Then you're going to put out a documentary where they're like, we're not done. We haven't written it. We're just kind of shooting this.
I don't necessarily believe that either, because I don't know what to believe, because I did see an interview with the Duffer Brothers where they said, there is no Duffer Brothers cut. Like, this was our final version. This is what we wanted to put out. There's no extra episodes. They debunked all these like hopes and theories and rumors and stuff like that. So there's somewhere in the middle where it's like, is it Netflix? Is it them? And clearly, I agree, the documentary didn't do them any good. And even the stuff from documentaries that I usually like, I was getting annoyed at. Like, everyone's speeches and stuff at the end. I'm like, I don't care about this.
That was the other thing. The epilogue of this season, the series, was so long. Like, the season finale episode, the majority of it is just like us sitting with characters. It felt very fan servicey. I was like, I don't need all this explanation to where the characters are going. I don't need it.
That's catch-22 though, because if they kill the monster and then the series ends 5 minutes later, people are gonna be like, what? That's it? They don't tell us what happened to the characters and stuff?
They killed the monster too quick, is what I'm saying.
I know that, but I think they did that so that they could conclude the stories of the characters. So I liked that, actually. I did not need a 45-minute battle with a giant spider. I did not need that. I was totally fine with how they killed it. It had camp to it. You had Lucas with his slingshot. Everyone had their own little, part of it. So I liked that. I also liked that Joyce was the one that killed Vecna. I thought she should have been the one that killed Vecna, and there were people who had a problem with that. I loved seeing Winona Ryder swinging an axe. I thought that was fantastic.
Can I tell you?
What do you think about that?
So first of all, she's missing from the majority of the episode. Like, you just don't see her. And so then he's sitting there and he's like, And I'm not even kidding you. I'm not even kidding you. She walks in and I was like, oh, she has an axe. Is she about to kill him with the axe? And then she starts swinging. I'm like, come on. Like, I shouldn't be able to guess like that, like, in the moment. Like, it doesn't come as a surprise. It's like oh, okay.
Do you need to be surprised by every moment, though?
Okay, that's twisting what I just said.
Okay.
I'm saying I shouldn't be able to guess, oh, here comes Joyce with the axe. Clearly she's going to kill him when she hasn't been in this season. Joyce has been like MIA. And then Winona Ryder hasn't been doing any press for it. So I'm like, what is going on? Originally, they pitched this series as Winona Ryder is back. And then they end the series with like this one moment with Vecna. And then she's just like, I'm getting engaged. Hooray. It just, I don't know. It cheapened her. It cheapened the character.
I don't know. I liked that throughout the series, Joyce kept trying to use that axe and it never happened for her. And she always wound up getting herself in more trouble. So then she finally got to use it and it was in a big moment. I actually kind of like that. And I like that she was the one who got to kill Vecna because who else? He took her son from the very beginning. She should have been the one to do it.
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask me many questions.
So the Duffer Brothers came out about halfway through this season and said Holly Wheeler is she's the key to everything. She matters the most. Why, John? Why is she the key to everything? Why is she the important character that all of this has been leading up to Holly Wheeler?
I don't know. I don't think Holly Wheeler. I think I said this.
Oh, look at that. A big plot point, not answered, character introduced that was just like, happy, here she is. Here's Holly. Remember that girl that is not this character? We got a different actress. That girl. We're going to throw her in here.
Yeah, I don't really care one way or the other about it. I didn't care about Holly Wheeler. I said that when we reviewed the first batch of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't matter to me at all. I thought
But they said she was the key. Do you understand me? So that's why I'm saying like my frustration as a Stranger Things fan is to see the creators and the people that have been paraded around as the genius Duffer Brothers. Oh my God. Stranger Things.
In fairness.
They come out and they say all these things and they do all these interviews and videos and et cetera, et cetera. And they say these things to fans being like, Holly Wheeler is the key. She is the big point of these seasons and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm asking you as another fan, what was the point of Holly Wheeler? What was the point of pretty much a lot of this? And your response is, well, I don't really like Holly Wheeler, so I don't really know.
I didn't necessarily like the use of her, but I do. I'm okay with that element of the story where she was trapped in Henry's mind with Max, and Max doesn't get out if Holly doesn't find her. But I agree. I said that from the beginning. I didn't necessarily like the Holly Wheeler thing, but because we were able to explore more with Vecna and Henry in this one, I really liked the non-monster version of Vecna, like the Henry version. We got the Mr. What's-It of Jamie Campbell Bower. I thought he was like great.
Oh,
again.
He was the best person in the series.
Yeah, I thought he was really great too. So there's so many things that I liked enough, and I liked like the narrative ending for the main core characters enough where I don't care that they didn't explain the 12 or the clock. Like I don't care about that. And I think based on what I'm gathering from what you're saying is the Duffer Brothers probably should have just done a lot less interviews and just put out their show because they put their foot in their mouth constantly when they probably shouldn't have.
And that's fine. That could be a piece of it. I'm saying another piece of it is that they dragged this story out for way too long and it probably should have ended a couple seasons ago.
Season 4 was the best season though.
I'm saying they should have ended it where the story felt complete. I feel like they dragged this out for Netflix to keep paying them money and for Netflix to keep footing the bill, and the story wasn't there. I don't think the Duffers are creative enough to get the series to where it needed to go, and I think that it's showing in both interviews and on screen.
You might be right. I mean, are you saying they could have done like a 2-hour finale off the back of season 4 and ended it and not had a season 5?
Yes.
But still have Will, like what parts would you have kept? Will harnessing the powers like the wizard? Like what elements did you see in season 5 that you thought were important enough that should have still been there?
Well, I think there's also this element of this like side Broadway play where they explained a lot of plot that then they don't explain in the series, like how Joyce and Jim knew Henry, but they
Yeah.
don't talk about that.
Yeah.
And then like all these other things that like I saw constantly people being like, well, that's in the play. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to see the play. So that shouldn't be a detriment to me watching the series.
I agree completely. I don't like that
As a
idea at
Star
all
Wars fan,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to tell you to go read a book to get a Star Wars movie or a Star Wars TV show.
Yeah.
This is no different.
I agree with that. I don't like the element of, I like that this play exists and maybe I'd like to see it one day. I don't know. I don't like the fact that it seems canonically, required to really be in the know. So yeah, I agree with that part of it. I heard too much about that with the play, and you understand that Henry knew all of them and stuff. I'm like,
But they don't reference it at all.
yeah.
And then in the show, it seems like none of that stuff is reflected.
I don't think the
from the
actors
play.
were aware either.
Well, Jamie was because I guess he starred in it a couple times on Broadway, but yeah, no.
Like David Harbour and Winona Ryder didn't seem to be fully grasped of, like, were they were the cast required to see the play, read the play? I don't think so.
No,
So
they weren't.
yeah.
They weren't.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I understand all the detractors and everything like that. I just, when I sit down to watch these finales, I'm not expecting to be blown away or to get the greatest piece of cinema I've ever seen.
I am because that's
So-
how they hyped it up.
That's how they hype up every finale, though.
Not my fault as a fan to roll up being like, this is going to be amazing. They're putting it in movie theaters. This is the end. It's all been up to this. Like, how can you expect me not to be like, okay, let's go. Let's do this, Netflix. And then they don't. And you're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. All right, let's so we got a big no, like, so out of 10, and you could use decimals, what are you giving the finale and then season 5 overall?
Finale, 3 out of 10. 4 out of 10 if we're just talking about Dustin and Steve and Henry.
And what about the season 5 overall?
3 out of 10.
Man, that's hard.
I hated it. I did not like it. It was not a fun thing to watch. It wasn't amusing.
All right, now, and for
I didn't like
perspective
it.
for our audience, how did you like the rest of Stranger Things? Season 1, 2, 3, 4.
I loved 1, loved 2, didn't like 3, liked 4, hated 5.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think I would give the finale a 6.5, maybe 7 if I'm in a good mood.
I think they
Then-
just went too crazy with it. Like, when you go back and watch season 1, it was supposed to be like a psychological horror thriller show. And then it just became too superhero, Marvel, YA franchise. Like, they went too wild with it. That then they couldn't reel it back into what it originally started as.
It got too big for you? Is that what you're saying?
Not for me, for the story.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got 1 like, 1 very much no like. I don't think either of us loved it, but I was satisfied enough with how it ended. And I did get a little teary with some of this stuff. So that'll do it for me.
I got teary that I wasted my time watching it.
All right. All right. Well, let us know in the comments what you thought about Stranger Things season 5, the finale, our very nuanced points on it, and that's it. That is the end of Stranger Things. So we did watch other things.
We can never leave the house and would just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
Let's start with His and Hers. I finished it. I predicted it, which means I shouldn't like it because I predicted it, but I did. I did enjoy it, though. Did you enjoy His and Hers?
Oh, I loved it. The ending was great.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of, it was pretty early on when I was like, I think it's the mother. Because I'm like, is it a fake dementia thing? Sort of like Primal Fear, where he pretends he has like split personality. And at one point I also thought it could have been, I thought it might have been, who else was I suspecting it being? Oh, I did pick up on that the news anchor was Catherine.
Yes, I picked up on that too.
Yeah. So then I was like, oh, it was her. And then they bait and switch us where they make us think it's her and her boyfriend. And he actually had no idea about anything.
But
He
the
was
way
just,
that they reacted, I was just like, this isn't right. And I kept turning to Matt being like,
yeah, I didn't necessarily. Yeah, I thought that was that whole thing was sort of weird how she attacked her because she shut him behind the door. And I'm like, what is going on right now? But then I was like, I do think it might be the mother. It might be a fake dementia thing. And then when that happened, I was like, that is pretty good.
It was very good.
The only thing is, people are gonna think I've lost it. I didn't really like John Bernthal in this series,
Wow. Really?
and I love John Bernthal. You
I know
that.
you do. That is so weird. Out
You
of
know
all the
what
things.
it is? I think I said this when I reviewed the first 4 episodes, and
He was playing John Bernthal?
he was too John Bernthal, way too John Bernthal in this, and it bothered me too much where I was hearing too much of how he sounds when he talks normally.
No.
Yeah, when he was like, every time he would like dictate something, he's like, "All right, why don't we call the lab and get the test? Yeah, all right, now drive down to the station. Yeah." I'm like, why is he saying?
He's a
yeah all the
very
time?
good cop. He's a very good cop. Like, they get him too much as a cop.
Yeah, he is a good
Yeah.
cop.
Mhm.
He's a good Punisher, but for whatever reason I didn't love him here. Tessa Thompson I thought was great. Overall, I thought the show was really good, so I did enjoy his and hers. I also watched Secret Mall Apartment. Have you heard about this on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
So these artists in the early 2000s, they lived in these like studio apartment buildings, and they were all artists and whatever. Obviously, they didn't have a lot of money. And what happened was their town started getting gentrified. A developer came in, knocked down all their apartments, built up all these new, high rises or whatever, and they lost their apartments. So they went to the mall and they found like a crawl space that led to this giant open area, and they built an apartment in like the bowels of the mall, and they lived there for like a couple years. And they built it up where they like made walls in there. They got electric routed up there and everything, and they didn't get caught for a couple years. It was very interesting. Check it out on Netflix. It's called Secret Mall Apartment.
Nice.
Yeah, very interesting. And then I watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the new Game of Thrones series. So my journey with Game of Thrones, Lacey brought it up before. I loved Game of Thrones. I was a Stark fan from the beginning, so I liked the finale because they came out on top. I was not a big fan of House of the Dragon. I thought it was too dark. It didn't have the humor or the sex or anything that Game of Thrones like was known for. And now we have this series, which is 100 years before the main series of Game of Thrones, and it's about this hedge knight who is a bit of a loner and an orphan. We're not sure who he maybe really is, and it's a lone wolf and cub thing where he comes across this little boy, and he tries to go on this journey to King's Landing to become a knight. I'm really enjoying this so far. It's funny. It is. It has all of those medieval trappings that you like from the early seasons of Game of Thrones, and it's well written because it's based off of something that George R.R. Martin actually wrote. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm only 2 episodes in, but I love the actors. The relationship between him and the kid are great. And I highly recommend it. If you loved Game of Thrones and you watched House of the Dragon, you're like, this isn't it anymore. I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Definitely watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms because it brings back a lot of that feel of Game of Thrones that made it so likable from the beginning. And the landscape, like the setting, where they're shooting it, the locations, fantastic. And of course, as you know, the music is always going to be great with what's his name from Game of Thrones. So so far, so very good. I'm very happy with Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Nice. Well, I watched things on the other side of that spectrum, not all like death and weird, creepy stuff. Anyway, I watched a lot of kids' movies recently,
All right.
and my kids have been kind of over Frozen finally. And so we tried to watch some new ones. So first I watched Sing on Netflix. It's is it Universal? It might be Universal, like Illumination type stuff.
Oh.
Or maybe it's DreamWorks. Can't remember. It's a bunch of animals that sing and put on a show. Matthew McConaughey plays the main character who's like a koala, but he's like down on his luck. He's trying to get around like bills and stuff, and it's his dream to own a theater. And has Reese Witherspoon in it and Taron Egerton, which Taron Egerton plays a gorilla that sings Elton John. And I'm like, did he get Elton John because of this role?
Does he sound like Elton John?
Yes. It was cute. It has Tori Kelly as an elephant, and she's like so good. So anytime I get to see her, hear her sing. I've been trying to find Sing 2. It is impossible to find, so eventually I'll see Sing 2, but I saw Sing 1. The other one that I saw on Netflix was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Now, this is a book that I read when I was little in the 90s, and I recently found it at a book fair for my daughter, and I've been reading it to her. And excuse me, it was one of those books that just kind of stuck with me when I was little, that I like still reference it in like conversation with people, or like when I think about certain foods, like cream cheese and jelly sandwiches. Like I still remember the faces of the kids in the book of like how sick they were from eating it all the time. So anyway, this movie came out a little while ago. It stars Bill Hader as the main character, with Anna Faris as like his romantic interest, and James Caan as the dad to Bill Hader's character. So they took the story, which originally is these kids are hearing a story through their grandfather that there's this place called Chew and Swallow where all this food falls from the sky. And they took it and tweaked it where it's like a scientist that puts something into the sky and then the food becomes sentient, and it's like really weird. And some of the humor is like really bizarre too, like moments that I'm like, this is a weird sense of humor that's like just not hitting right for little kids. Like it's like a very adult humor, but not in like a cutesy way that Disney does it or someone. And I was like, you know, this is like kind of off. There's something not right about
like
this movie.
Shrek kind of, or no?
I would say even more off than Shrek. Like just like a little too far on the adult side of things.
Innuendos, you know.
Yes, but those are funny.
Yeah.
These like they have a lot of like awkward humor moments. And Matt would kind of once in a while pop in to like see what we were watching. And I kept saying to him, I was like, this something's off, like too much improv on this movie. Like too much. They were letting Bill Hader do like a little too far. They were letting Anna Faris go a little too far with some of the jokes, you know?
Okay. What is it rated?
PG, I think. But, and I'm not even saying too far as in like inappropriate. I'm saying too far as like the joke goes too far. Do you know what I mean? Like it could have stopped 2 lines earlier.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just like wondering like who did this movie? And so at the end, guess whose name comes up first? Guess whose names, as in a pair of people.
I don't know.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller are the directors and writers of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Oh,
and it reminded me very much of some feedback I had heard of them as, hey, sometimes they go a little too far with the improv and a little too far with the jokey jokes.
Yeah.
And this was one of those movies that I was like, okay, this is a little too, like it took away from the story. It took away from like the beats of where the story was going. And it felt like a bad episode of Family Guy where you're like, what is happening? You know what I mean? Like where it cuts away on these tangents and you're like, what it was really, excuse me, really weird, like really bizarre. And I would never, ever watch it again.
All right. Then I will never watch it, ever.
Yeah. The last thing I watched was Finding Her Edge. Excuse me, which was a YA show that just came out on Netflix about ice skating. And it is exactly as bad as you think it would be. But it was good bad. It was like teen bad.
Is it supposed to be like a soft remake of The Cutting Edge or something?
No. Because it's all ice skaters. There's no hockey players in this. But it's like a family that's in like the ice skating world and the mom dies. So then the girls have to step up. And then the one sister that kind of never gets her moment to shine gets her moment to shine. The other one gets jealous and talking to the press. And she has to like team up with the bad boy to like get to the championships.
Oh, so there's a bad boy. Okay. All right.
There is. It was all right. It was fine. It was something to put on while I was folding laundry. It was fine.
Jeez.
And
All
that's
right.
it. That's what I watched.
That's it. Okay. Well, that's the show. So let us know your thoughts on everything we talked about. The stories at the top in the news, our review of Stranger Things, and its maybe they shouldn't have put out documentary.
I'm so
And,
sorry.
Of course, everything else we watched. Yeah, whether you liked or disliked Stranger Things, however, whatever side you're with the two of us, just be gentle in the comments. Thank you.
Don't bring it. I want all the comments.
Let us know what your thoughts on what we're watching as well. And I want to know what you guys think about Night of the Seven Kingdoms, because I'm really digging it. But that is it for us. Lacey, where can people find you?
Social media at Lacey Gilleran.
And for me, Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky is the main place to be. And we'll be back with you on Thursday with a live episode of the Resistance broadcast, as always, to talk Star Wars as passionately as we do everything on Nerdy and Nice. So enjoy your weeks, enjoy February, and hopefully things start to warm up where we are at least. But until next time, we'll see you around, kids.